This is Life Strategies with Monique.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome again to another Life Strategies with Monique episode, where we educate and empower individuals to be successful in their lives. And today I have with me in the studio, Miss Ihuaku Nweke. Ihu is a creative genius who runs her own fashion brand and a philanthropist that is passionate about helping couples sustain happy marriages in order to maintain the fabric of our society. But not only that, she is the founder of Cedarcube, which teaches people how to maintain loving relationships based on the Word of God. So she is absolutely an amazing woman, and I'm going to introduce her to you today. Hello, Ihu. How are you?
Hello, Monique. I'm very well, thank you. And how are you today?
I am great. Well, first of all, I want you to tell everybody where you are and where you're from.
I'm in England, London, England. Hey, hi everybody. And I'm actually originally from Nigeria, from the southeast of Nigeria. I'm from the Igbo tribe. So that's me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so excited to hear your story today because what you are doing is absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
Especially when we talk about marriages. And I know marriages are, we've seen the downfall and how marriages are, the divorce rates are, constantly going up. But you are on a true mission to really help marriages become even more stable. And even your story, which I'm excited to hear about your story today on how you met your mate and how you actually got started into this ministry. So share with our listeners a little bit about your background and how all of this got started.
Okay, well, it's interesting. I mean, I started off when I was single, I think roughly around 2001. I got laid upon my heart to start this organization. Really, it started off because I just felt there was no alternatives for single Christians to meet, interact with one another, without having to compromise their faith. So I started this lifestyle organization for single Christians to meet with one another, to kind of develop their giftings. So I started off Cedarcube, which means cedars, the cedar coming from the cedars of Lebanon, and it's all about sort of if you know about the cedar of Lebanon, it's one of the strongest trees that you can find. It's a very it's a very kind of symmetrical type of tree. It's very, very well balanced. The leaves are equidistant. They've got really, really deep roots, really strong trunks. So to me, that was like the life of a Christian should be living. And with the deep roots and everything else, it grows really, really tall. And also it reaches out, reaches out to other cedars out there. And then the cube is the cross opened up and looking at the 6 different parts of a Christian life and coming together to form a balanced cube. And obviously, when you open, like I said, when you open it up, it's 6 different sides, and it is actually a cross. So I started this organization, and in researching for about this, I joined a couple of dating sites because the idea was to have an online section of it and an offline section where people actually met one-to-one in terms of social events, retreats, and that sort of thing. So in the process of me doing this research, just going through the motions, looking at all these websites, putting my details on there, my person, just for me, it was really basic stuff. About my name, my height, that kind of thing. And actually, it wasn't even my name. It was like with these sites, you see their names, you don't actually put your real name. And I put it on a couple of them, just copying what their customer journey was like. And I just left it at that. And with one of the sites, a couple of guys contacted me and I just didn't pay any mind. But there was one guy who contacted me and it was quite persistent. And I just thought, well, I wasn't looking for a partner. I was just really focused on my mission. And he was quite persistent. And then eventually, I think after about a month of messaging me and I just wasn't responding to him, he basically sent me a poem that said something about being the bone of his bone and the flesh of his flesh. And I just thought to myself, how can this guy be so sure that I'm the bone of his bone and the flesh of his flesh? We hadn't seen each other. My picture wasn't on the site. So how could he be so sure? Anyway, that caught my attention and I basically responded to him. We ended up speaking on the phone like almost every night from there. So I think this was around October, November time, 2002. And, we were speaking on the phone constantly. So we eventually met up following my job at the time. I was a researcher in Old Street Station. So we met up and the rest was history, basically. So we're still married 13 years later. Actually, it wasn't, it's 15 and a half years later because we dated for 2.5 years. And we've got 3 lovely children now. And it's just amazing how God used, something that I was out there, pursuing my purpose, as it were, and he used it to connect me to my husband.
And what I found interesting is you said this was in the early 2000s, 2001, 2002, when the internet this was kind of really early, the early stages of the internet, and people weren't really online as much as they are today.
No, they were not really online. And, the funny thing as well is that, my husband actually bought his computer a couple of days before he actually joined up. He bought the computer for that purpose because somebody in his church just mentioned to him that, oh, well, if you're looking for someone, maybe you should try a dating site. And he did that. And before that, he never had a computer. He never joined the dating site. He just wasn't used to using a computer. So it was basically more or less for that purpose. Yeah, and like you said, it was quite early in the internet days. So, but God can use anything.
Yes, he definitely can. So, what sparked your desire to really want to be a vessel to help in marriages?
Oh, well, you've said it already. The way marriages are going is like, even the single people don't want to be married. Do you understand? And for me, my ministry now is kind of like focusing on the marriage aspect, not the single aspect. Because I think that marriage is just so broken at this time that it's not attractive to singles anymore. So I feel that we need to sort of get back to basics. For me, I think I see marriage as the foundation of society. It's where, like, I think the best place for a child to grow, or the best environment for a child to grow, is with a father and a mother together.
Mm-hmm.
That's the ideal. I know it's not always the case these days for one reason or the other, but for me, that is the ideal environment. And in some cases, it cannot be helped that, basically a child is raised in a single parent home. For example, there's deaths, incarceration, all sorts of things, but where there is a choice and where the father is there, the mother is there, I think it's really best for the children to be raised by both parents. Mm-hmm. Because I feel that the family is like a nuclear unit for society, really. You understand? And it is the fabric of society. And if we are able to raise children right, because they're the future, they're basically our future leaders, future policymakers, so if we're able to do that right, then I think a lot of problems that we're facing in society, we wouldn't have, we just wouldn't be facing it. We wouldn't have so many problems with people, mental illness, suffering mental illness, people with low self-esteem issues where they end up in abusive relationships, all, yeah, I mean, I think it's strong, but there's different aspects to this. One is having both couples there. One is also having healthy relationships if both couples are together. So it was because of the the healthy relationship aspect of things that I formed Behind the Mask, because a couple could be in a relationship, but it might not be a loving relationship. In fact, it could be the complete opposite of a loving relationship. It can be an abusive relationship, and that causes as much damage, if not more, than where the couple is not together, or if it's just one parent raising the children. In fact, it's better for one parent to raise the children in a healthy environment than for the child to be raised where there is a toxic and abusive relationship.
And you've just mentioned Behind the Mask. Behind the Mask is another one of your part of your nonprofit organization that you do. Could you explain a little bit more about what Behind the Mask is, so our listeners know specifically what you're referring to?
Yeah, so Behind the Mask was a concept where I started off in October 2018 doing Domestic Awareness Week. It became aware as I ran Cedarcube that a lot of people were not coming forward. They were not because I was sort of putting out posts and doing different educational things where to educate mainly women really to have a better loving relationship. But it seemed that women, they were wary. They became, they were not responding as much. So when I probed a bit deeper, I found out that, I'm telling women, wear sexy lingerie for your partner, do this, do that, be the submissive wife. But it seemed that those things, a lot of the things was not registering because there were the mental issues within a relationship. Some people that I spoke to were basically they were in abusive marriages or abusive relationships, and it was like there was a shame about actually coming out and speaking out about these relationships in open. So I just, it was quite evident that a lot of people are, were hiding in the mask of, they've got a perfect relationship, they've got everything is fine, their kids are fine, they've got the fantastic job. And that was quite reflective of what was going on in the wider scheme of things in terms of society, because as I researched further into this subject, I found out that like 1 in 4 women will be abused or will be basically face some sort of domestic abuse in their lifetime. And also there'll be 1 in 6 men that would also face domestic abuse. So I thought, well, if this is the case, then that means that because I've got a group for Cedarcube. It started off being for women, and now it's for couples, because I just felt that it wasn't just women that needed to hear of how to have a better marriage, and men also needed to hear this. So the group is about 2,800 people. So what that shows is that a quarter of the women in that group would have suffered domestic violence. If they were not facing it at that time, they've gone through it or they will go through it in the future. And 1 in 6 men would that would be the same case for them. So I thought this is actually something very, very widespread. And the more research I did, the more I found that people who had gone through domestic abuse, and it's not just physical abuse, it's, financial, verbal abuse, emotional abuse, even spiritual abuse, and the thing is, the awareness wasn't really there, because some forms of abuse, people didn't even know that they were actually experiencing it themselves. They just thought this is normal, this is the culture, and that's just the way it is. So I just felt there was a need for raising awareness of these issues, and just letting people, educate people, both the perpetrators and the victims, that this is wrong. It's not right for them to be going through this. It's not right for them to be going through this type of relationship, issues. And the first step is awareness. The second step is actually doing something about it. So I've partnered with some therapists and counselors who are able to give either free or subsidized therapy and counseling to those who've gone through abusive situations. And also, the idea is that we want to sort of educate perpetrators, and also, and couples generally, to help them, to teach them better ways of communicating and relating to one another.
Wow. What I find interesting is the numbers that you just mentioned. You said 1 out of every 4 women and 1 out of every 6 men are, being abused. But what really stuck with me is what you just said about the abuse not being just physical. That abuse could be emotional or verbal or mental. And I think that's where a lot of people
financial as well. It can be financial.
So what is interesting about that is that when people hear abuse, the first thing they think about is physical. It is never really anyone speaking more on the verbal, the financial, or the emotional or mental side of it. It's always the physical that people always refer to, but there's so many different ways that an individual can be abused and not even really acknowledge or even know or even understand, because they're not educated. So they think it's the norm. So my goodness, Ihu, what you're doing is absolutely empowering, for one, because it's empowering individuals to know, what the signs are, what they should be looking for. And even those that are in the group, because you said you had over 2,000, which is letting you know that it's definitely something widespread, and there's definitely a need. So, oh my goodness, such an amazing ministry that you have that is reaching so many people, and I know it's just going to continue to grow.
Amen.
So my listeners out there who are listening, if you know of someone, please reach out to Ihu. Her name is Ihuaku Nweke, and her organization is called Cedarcube, and one of the organizations up under that is Behind the Mask, where if you are suffering, you do not have to suffer in silence. There is help. She has counseling and coaching and individuals out there who can help you. So definitely, please don't sit out there feeling like you're all alone. There is definitely help out there for you.
Yeah, and the thing is, people, there's a shame to it, because if people feel that they failed, or that they're weak for seeking help, they're weak that this has happened to them in the first place. So I just want to let if anybody's listening, it can happen to anybody. It can happen to the strongest of people. There is no shame. Just, you need to, if you're facing this, or if you feel that you've got signs of this, even if you suspect, just reach out. The website is www.cedarcube, cedarcube.com. Reach out. We've got professionals who would definitely be able to, help you. You're not alone. Okay, so it can happen to the best of us. It can happen to anybody. So there's no shame in this.
Yes, amen, Ihu. And so you also have another project that was just released. Your co-author.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Yeah, so
Yeah. Amazing. So on the 17th of December, 2018, we released a fantastic book, co-author with 9 other amazing women. And the book is called I Rise, Living Beyond the Bruises. And it's just we've talked about different issues that we faced. And mine, I've talked about some of it here, but there's more. So do get the book. It's available on Amazon. I'm sure Nick will put the link on, with alongside this podcast. So do go on to Amazon anyway. You can Google it. It's actually a bestseller. It's a bestseller in 4 different categories in Amazon, and it became a bestseller on the first day of release. It's an amazing book that will basically transform you and give you hope. Give you hope. It's a one to read for 2019. So do get that book. It will help you so much.
yes, definitely. Congratulations again on the book and the release.
Thank you.
For those of my listeners that are out there listening again, you've been listening to Life Strategies with Monique, and my guest today is Ihuaku Nweke, who is an amazing woman of God who's on a ministry mission to help women and men all over the world with their relationships and marriage. Her website, again, is cedarcube.com. Definitely, please reach out to her. She is more than willing to help you out there who need the support. Ihu, what are some other ways in which our listeners can get in touch with you?
Well, you can email me as well, info@Cedarcube, CEDARcube.com. And I'm also on Facebook, Behind the Mask. You can go and like behind the mask, and then you get all our updates. So check out Behind the Mask. There's a few pages called Behind the Mask, but this one has a crying face. Anyway, if you read the description, you'll know which one to go for. You can also join my group if you're a couple or engaged, which is Cedarcube, CEDARcube. It's called Cedarcube for couples. So check that out also on Facebook. I'm not gonna give my number because it might be international. But go on the website www.cedarcube.com. Got all the contact details. You can complete a form, and we'll definitely be in touch. So looking forward to connecting with you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ihu. For my listeners out there, thank you once again for tuning in to Life Strategies with Monique. I'm your host, Monique. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen out there, please stay educated and empowered.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
You've been listening to Life Strategies with Monique. Contact Monique Petaway at www.moniquepetaway.com or info@moniquepetaway.com.